Try this. Fall 14 meters onto solid ground. Break your arm, your ribs. Then do it without a hospital, without painkillers, without a single word in any language, and survive long enough for your bones to tell the story. The question is what happened next. Her name is Lucy. Officially, Australopithecus Afarensis. Unofficially, the most famous ape woman on Earth. In 1974, paleoanthropologist Donald Johansen and his team found partial skeletal remains in a gully at Hadar, Ethiopia. About 40% of a 3.2 million-year-old hominid. In paleontology, that is the equivalent of winning the lottery twice. Lucy stood about 1 meter tall and weighed roughly 29 kilograms. Brain size, 400 to 500 cubic centimeters. Chimp territory, not yours. She walked upright on the ground, but almost certainly still slept in trees. When researchers examined her bones, they found fracture patterns consistent with a serious fall from somewhere around 14 meters up. That is a 4-story building. Here is what most people get wrong. They picture a clumsy half-ape who lost a fight with gravity and died. That is not what the bones say, or at least, not the whole story. Several fractures show signs of healing. Lucy didn't just fall. She lived afterward, long enough for bone to knit back together. No surgeons, no antibiotics, no ibuprofen. So how does that work? Let's start with the world she actually lived in. East Africa, 3.2 million years ago. Not Ice Age, not paradise. A patchwork of woodlands and open savanna, sun by day, leopards and saber-toothed cats by night. Lucy wasn't at the top of that food chain, not even close. She was small, slow by predator standards, and armed with essentially nothing. No spears, no controlled fire, no walls, no language to yell, run. Alone she was lunch. But Lucy was almost certainly not alone. Australopithecus Afarensis lived in groups, probably 20 to 30 individuals, maybe more during parts of the year. That changes the math completely. Injured individuals don't survive in solitary species. They survive in groups that tolerate cost, that share food with the wounded, that slow down for the limping, that keep watch while someone heals. This isn't sentiment. It is survival engineering. Now why was she in a tree 14 meters up in the first place? Because Lucy lived a double life, bipedal on the ground, arboreal in the canopy. And that combination is stranger than it sounds. Walking upright was her signature move. Her pelvis, her knee angle, her big toe alignment, all of it screams bipedalism. You can see it in your own body right now. The way your femur angles inward? Lucy got there first. But bipedalism on open savanna is like strutting through a lion enclosure wearing a stake suit. You are visible. You are slow. You can't climb away in a hurry without something to climb. So the trees were not optional. They were infrastructure. Sleeping platform, escape route, nursery. The canopy was Lucy's apartment building, and 14 meters up was a floor she sometimes used. Did she fall because she was clumsy? Maybe. Maybe a branch snapped. Maybe she was startled by a predator in the dark. Maybe she lost balance carrying food or a juvenile. The exact moment isn't preserved. What is preserved is the outcome, broken bones, then healing. And that healing tells us something critical about her group, because in the wild, a fractured arm isn't just painful. It is a death sentence unless someone else helps you eat while you can't climb, can't forage efficiently, can't run. Lucy's healed ribs suggest she wasn't abandoned. She was cared for, in whatever rudimentary, nonverbal, pre-hospital way that looked like. Let's talk about what her brain could actually do. 400 cubic centimeters sounds puny. And by modern standards, it is. But brain size isn't a survival strategy. Behavior is. Her species persisted for roughly 900,000 years, nearly a million years of evolutionary success. Homo sapiens, for comparison, have only been around about 300,000. Lucy, or at least her kind, was doing something right. They navigated complex three-dimensional environments, daily, canopy, and ground. They recognized predators. They almost certainly communicated danger through gesture, vocalization, and shared attention. They remembered where water pooled after rain, which fruiting trees paid off, which roots avoided the thickest predator turf. This wasn't abstract philosophy. This was a mobile, social risk, calculating intelligence optimized for a specific niche. And it worked. What did a normal day look like? Not glamorous. Wake before or with the sun. Forage fruits, seeds, possibly tubers. Stay close enough to the group that losing sight of them means genuine danger. Climb when resting or when threat signatures spike. Keep the juveniles alive, which was already a group project. No refrigerator, no DoorDash. Every healed fracture Lucy carried was paid for in someone else's shared food budget. And predators weren't an occasional emergency. They were ambient pressure, like weather. But with teeth, leopards hunt at dawn and dusk. Large cats patrol riparian corridors. Even a moderately sized carnivore can kill an ape woman Lucy's size in seconds. Her survival didn't depend on winning fights. It depended on never being alone in the wrong place at the wrong time, and on a group culture that didn't discard the injured. Scientists still debate Lucy's fractures. Whether some occurred perimortem, near death, or postmortem, after burial. Smart people disagree. What nobody seriously argues is that Lucy was trivial. 50 years later, her skeleton remains one of the most complete early hominid specimens ever found, and one of the most debated. That is the point. She wasn't a mistake on the way to being you. She was a working prototype. Small brain. No tools worth naming. No medicine. No central heating. No YouTube explainers to tell her why her arm hurt. And yet, she walked. She climbed. She fell farther than you ever have. She broke. She healed. She persisted long enough for her species to iterate on her blueprint for 900,000 more years, until something like you showed up, looked at her bones in a museum, and asked how the hell she survived. The answer isn't strength. It isn't intelligence as we measure it on exams. It is the oldest formula we know. Stay together, use the trees, walk when you must, and don't waste the injured. Lucy didn't know she'd become the most famous ape woman on Earth. You, on the other hand, still walk with her pelvis, her knee angle, her stubborn insistence on bipedalism, even though falling 14 meters strongly suggests the trees were probably safer. Evolution is not elegant. It is just very, very persistent. No complaints,